Somebody shot my dad. I get the killer mentality. I come from murder and tragedy. Single burn home and family. Do this shit for my whole family. I'ma go get me a Grammy. You know that I'm missing you, Granny. Backbone to my whole family. I got to turn for the family.
What's good, DC? What's good, Maryland? What's good, Virginia? What's good, worldwide? Welcome back to our season finale of Life After the Gunshot. Can you believe it, bro?
It's crazy, man.
Managed to get through 5 shows.
At a time,
No love to StreamYard, though. No love to StreamYard. We ain't got love for y'all. But before we start the show, I just want to say, the show again is brought to you by who? By Marie Josephine Cakes. You can find that on IG, the best pastries in the DMV. Make sure you check that out. And I also want to say that we wrapping it up for season 5 for first season, episode 5. But I want to give a shout out to everybody that's been on the show. Shout out to my man Rollo from Cure the Streets, Joanna Hardy, Guns Down Friday, Booby. What's good, brother? Shout out to my man Booby. Shout out to Young Fresh. And I want to say, my condolences to the family of young brother that was just shot in Southeast DC today, this evening. I don't know the circumstances of what happened in that situation, but whenever a black man is shot by the police, we always have to think about the circumstances that led to it. And it's just unfortunate that so many of our young brothers are being gunned down in the streets. And, we talk a lot about, interpersonal violence, but we don't talk enough about, or we should be talking more about, even the gun violence that is happening between the MPD and police departments all across the country and young brothers. So God bless him. God bless his family. So without any further ado, my man, this is probably one of the smartest dudes we know. He's been on our show multiple times. Could talk just about anything. We could talk for hours on end. But for anybody that doesn't know, what you say, Check?
Before we start, man, I just want to quote what Meek Mill said in one of his songs, man. He said, "We at war with the system and the streets." You know what I mean? I think that was one of the most profound statements that I've ever heard, him say.
Yeah.
Because, it's very true, man. And you guys who don't know me, I'm Bullets with No Name. I'm the co-host, of the Life After Gunshot podcast. Hey, guys, just stay safe in these streets. Understand that, every day is a blessing. You know what I mean? Don't get, indoctrinated into thinking, tomorrow is promised, because it's not. You know what I mean? And kiss your loved ones. You know what I mean? And tell them you love them. You know what I mean? And treat them like the gold that they are, because you never know, when you walk out that door.
Yeah.
If you come home or not. And that's, that definitely goes for our
Or you don't know if you're going to come home in the same way that you left.
Exactly.
So, let's also acknowledge that. So, man, without any further ado, I'm going to let the clip speak for itself, and then we're going to introduce our man and our last guest of the season that way, because it's apropos that we had this brother on to close out the season. So, play that clip.
Absolutely. You think about the things that even lead them to the path of being incarcerated. Rather, it's a failed school system, right, that leads them to feeling like they want to choose a life of crime to survive, or whatever the case may be, or just living in the communities where access to opportunities isn't there. And then you go to prison and there's no rehabilitative structure there, right, to help you improve, to help you move forward, and you release back to that very same community, and then the violent act occurs, and then you go, by the grace of God, you survive, and then you right back in that community, potentially get shot again. Like, these are the cycles that we see. These are the things we witness and go through every single day, and we have to figure out a way to do something different, right? And again, and stop blaming the victim. Like, they just choosing. I hear that so much, and it's like, no, it's much more layered than that. And even the choices that they make is influenced by something, right? And so, I just want people to understand that this is an ecosystem that people are just in, trying to survive, and it's trauma laden, right? And if we as a community or people that have had different privileges and different experiences just think, oh, you should just do what I did, not fully understanding what people have to endure in those communities. So, yeah, we got a lot of work to do, but at the same time, I'm hopeful. But I really feel like that the individuals that are surviving and going through these things hold the answer. You know, they have genius in them, and I think it's just important that we understand that and value them enough to try to see that genius manifest.
Yo, without any further ado, author, activist, all around, just solid brother, good man, one of the smartest brothers that I know, and I mean that sincerely. Yo, bring my man on, Tony Lewis Jr.
Stop, Jay. What's happening?
What's good, my brother?
I'm solid, man. Good, man.
Let's get to that clip. You saw that?
Yeah, that's real. I was like, yeah. Yeah, that's a good look. I like the way that looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, salute to that.
Everything you said you was dropping, I was like, nah, we gonna play this.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a ton of jewels, and we gonna drop that when we drop the series. So everybody be on the lookout for that. So you got a ton of jewels in your interview, but man, we just thought that we was gonna ride with that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's good shit. I'm sorry. That's good stuff. I'm glad to see that.
Kurt. Yeah, we gonna censor it. This made.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, I want to kind of, jump into that immediately.
Okay.
Like with what you said, and then we could kind of go back a little bit. But the whole blaming the victim. Yeah. Because we hear this conversation all the time, like, they shouldn't have been, they were responsible for what they did. This is their situation. Why should we be intervening? They had a choice, which we clearly understand people can make choices, right? But in certain contexts, like the options of your choices are limited.
Precisely. And so many times, because of the trauma and the things that have been placed upon our communities, systemic oppression and systemic racism, how you stated, what you so clearly helped me see in terms of state violence, these things manifest themselves in a way in which even the opportunities that somebody that feel that may have come from some point of privilege or a different circumstance can see, those individuals going through those things can't even see the options sometimes that are like what we say right in front of them, right?
Right.
So it's much deeper than what people take sort of this drone approach, and they make a lot of assumptions based on their own perspective. And even when people come from certain environments or circumstances, I don't think they necessarily look enough at how they got the way they are, even if they came from a similar environment. And I think we're easy to sort of credit ourselves with oh yeah, well, they can make the choices that I made, right? Not understanding that even in the choices that you made, like, it's unfortunate that we got to be so lucky. I hate to describe my journey as like having luck, but like, it's so improbable sometimes that it was luck involved or a blessing involved, having somebody want to view it, but it shouldn't be that hard is what I'm getting at. And right. So that I'm saying all that to say that there definitely are other things in play, particularly with young Black men and women in our communities and in other communities, brown young brown men and women. What happens is I often feel like it's like when a woman that gets raped and somebody asks her, what did she have on? You know right. what I'm saying? Exactly. In a very similar way, right? That you're like, what does that have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? What does that have to do with what happened? What happened to her should not have happened, no matter if she had nothing on. And I feel like that with us in our communities, it's like people would look to say, well, they were involved in this lifestyle, or they didn't make this choice, or they dropped out of school, or they had a gun, or whatever the situation is, and it takes away what really led to people's outcome. And so yeah, that's pretty much like how I look at it. And I try not to ever do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to speak for those people. Like I try to bring up the other side of that equation,